Donovan Mitchell is rapidly becoming one of the best combo guards in the game, and there's no doubt that he's a Utah Jazz's #1 man moving forward. The Jazz are in the middle of a really intense playoff series matchup against the Denver Nuggets, with Mitchell going off for 57 points in Game 1 and then following that up with 30 points in the Game 2 win. To be honest, I never thought that the Jazz would be this competitive, especially with Bojan Bogdanovic being out for the entire duration of the playoffs, while Mike Conley missing the first 2 games. But here we are, in what seems to be a 6 or 7 game series at the most. Many people thought that after Rudy Gobert's recklessness at the height of the pandemic in the US would be reason enough for the front office to trade him away, especially when he infected other Jazz players by touching their stuff in the locker room. Well, time heals all wounds apparently, and now the pair is hoping to make a deep playoff run. Mitchell has proven that he's a steal after being drafted at 13th spot in the 2017 draft. As you can see here in the stats provided by Basketball Reference, his numbers continue to improve year after year. And you know what? People have been comparing him to none other than Dwyane Wade. Now it got me curious, why Wade of all people? Now I went in my bag for this one and tried to look at their films and the ever-handy Basketball Reference and NBA Advanced Stats. At first glance, their game and the way they move around the court looks essentially the same. The stats that both players have accumulated in their first 3 years are relatively similar. Now hold on a minute, it might sound blasphemous at first. Some of you guys might say, Donovan Mitchell is not a Hall of Famer like Dwyane Wade. But hear me out here. I have the numbers to back it up, and I actually got to watch a lot of their games and film. I'm looking at you haters from my Luka Doncic Larry Bird comp video, which by the way you guys should check out after this one. Before anything else, welcome to Pacific Hoops. My name is Nico. Don't forget to like this video since it just takes 1 second of your time and is really great for the YouTube algorithm. Consider subscribing as well if you enjoyed. If you're new, I make 2 to 3 videos a week and I usually make content from your suggestions, so feel free to comment them down below. You'll never know what video I'll do next and it might be coming from your suggestion. Anyway, let's dive into it. While doing research for this video, I had to look into which other NBA players Donovan Mitchell was being compared to. Majority of draft sites had him pegged as Norman Powell from the Toronto Raptors, citing Mitchell's ability to defend guards and some small forwards and small ball lineups. DraftExpress.com's Mike Schmitz had this to say about comparing Mitchell to Norman Powell. Putting him in a position to focus on defending, making open shots, getting downhill in space, moving off the ball, and being an athlete in transition will be key. In some ways, Schmitz is right because in Mitchell's sophomore year with Louisville, his first year as a full-time starter, he shot the ball at a miserable 40.8%. Though he was putting up 15.6 points a game, his assists and rebounding were relatively okay for a sophomore player. When he entered the NBA though, that's when he showed that people were comparing him to the wrong player. The Norman Powell comparisons became unreliable because among his batchmates in the 2017 draft, he was easily one of the most NBA-ready guards then. In his first year, he put up 20.5 points, 3.7 rebounds, and 3.7 assists to go alongside his 1.5 steals at 33.4 minutes per game. Comparing him to Flash's first year, the stats similarities are insane. Logging in at 34.9 minutes per game, Wade had 16.2 points, 4 rebounds, and 4.5 assists with 1.4 steals. Getting buckets is the name of the game for these two uber-athletic players. Offensively, if we had to talk about where Mitchell outshines Wade, it's in the 3-point shooting department. Granted, there's a big difference between Dwyane Wade's generation and Mitchell's, so for the sake of fairness, I'll be showing Dwyane Wade's shot chart starting from the 2016-2017 season all the way to his final season in the 2018-2019 season. Let's look at Donovan Mitchell's shot chart first. We can see here that he takes majority of his shots from 3, making 545 out of 1,538 attempts. At first glance of the shot chart, people would believe that Spida takes his shots closer to the rim than settling for jumpers, but if you take a look again, he's attempting more mid-range shots, 1,603 of them to be exact, than shooting at the rim, which clocks in 1,088 attempts. In fairness to him, he's making 653 of those mid-rangers, so it's safe to say he's picking his spots and not just simply chucking the ball up. In his young career, he's shooting the ball at 43.9%, and if you're a Jazz fan, that's an encouraging sign because this combo guard is as offensively minded as they come. With regards to Dwyane Wade, here's how it looks for him. Shooting at 29.3% from deep for his entire career, this one was rough to look at. Again, in fairness to Flash, he shot at 48% from the field for his career. It's just that he never got a 3-point stroke going. Yes, he can make threes on occasion, but it never got to a point that he would majorly rely on it to win games, save for some clutch shots and buzzer beaters. It was more of a last resort option as he would opt to take the ball up to the hoop or create space for himself in the mid-range, and he did that at an elite level for most of his career. Let's now look at how they fare in the advanced stats via cleaning the glass. The similarity is even more uncanny in the advanced stats. Very early on in their careers, they have been trusted to carry the team just by basing it on their usage rate. Wade leads Mitchell in minutes per game, but their output is still similar. An advantage that Dwyane Wade has over him is that he was more of a playmaking guard than a pure scorer. Obviously, he can score at will, but when you're entrusted to carry the team, that doesn't mean you score all the points though. Flash was an explosive scorer, but he was also an adept passer. Looking at his assist percentage and assist to usage ratio, he's got Mitchell beat by a mile. For comparison, Spida has an assist to usage ratio of 0.64, 0.65, and 0.67, which puts him in the bottom percentile amongst combo guards. For as high a usage rate that he has, he's barely putting up an assist. Understandable, he's still young, and Utah's system has Mike Conley as a primary ball handler instead of him, but I'm optimistic he'll learn from him. For the sake of argument, even Devin Booker learned how to be a much better playmaking combo guard since Ricky Rubio was brought to the team. That's despite spending 5 years in the league already. Utah did right by Mitchell in having Conley as a lead point guard, with Mitchell serving as the main point man when Conley gets subbed off for Jordan Clarkson. Between Clarkson and Mitchell, I have more faith in Mitchell being the primary ball handler. Now let's go into defense. I think this one is where Wade has an obvious advantage. Both guys are relatively the same height, but Wade has a much higher block percentage in his first 3 years in the league. We remember Dwyane Wade for his feats of athleticism and scoring ability, but we tend to forget how good he was when it came to defending other guards. Heck, I would consider him as one of the best defensive guards the NBA has ever seen. Standing at 6'4" and with an athletic build, he's not as physically imposing as most players in the NBA are right now, but his basketball IQ when it comes to that end of the floor is really something else. What I appreciate most about his defense is that he was stifling the offense by way of timely steals on the help defense, forcing opposing ball handlers to pick up the dribble, and just simply being an off-ball and on-ball pest. That's why his steals percentage is as high as it is. It would also be worth the mention that he did all of that without fouling, as evidenced by his foul percentage courtesy of cleaning the glass. In Mitchell's case, however, defense has been a slight struggle for him. His block rate isn't on the same level as Wade's, but it's passable. He's just 6'1". He more than makes up for it in his steals percentage though, and that's a good place to start. Fouling out isn't a big concern with him, as Mitchell's shown that he uses his well-developed basketball IQ to scout out plays and read the offense's movements that allows him to direct the defense and also pick the ball from whoever's got it. There's room for improvement here, and judging by how well he played in the bubble, it will be interesting to see what happens next for him. I believe there's another gear to his game, and his efforts to bring the Jazz to where they are now have been recognized with an All-Star selection this year. Since sliding to near the end of the lottery, Donovan Mitchell has always played with a chip on his shoulder, eager to silence all his doubters. So far into his young career, he still has time to live up to the Dwyane Wade projections. Of course, it won't be easy, and he would wish to create his own legacy, but older fans of the game always enjoy looking back on the past greats, and I'm guessing it would be the same for Mitchell. Wade's resume is no joke. 13-time All-Star, 8-time All-NBA, 3-time All-Defensive Team member, and 3-time NBA champion. That's what Mitchell is trying to reach, and it would be a really big hill to climb. Personally, if I want him to improve on something, I would say it's his ability to distribute the ball. At this point, I don't doubt that he can up his scoring to around 25-26 points per game in the next couple of years, but I would love it if he can bring more assists to the team. Looking into Mitchell's future real quick, as early as it is, I can see Mitchell being with the Utah Jazz for his entire career, much like how Damian Lillard is looking to be with the Blazers. Then again, he still has a lot of years left in the league, and you'll never know what might happen next. What do you guys think though? Is Donovan Mitchell the next Dwyane Wade, or you guys have other players in mind that is a much suitable comparison? Let me know in the comments below so I can check it out. I really love learning your perspectives on these types of videos, and it helps me get better as a content creator as well. Don't forget to like this video if you haven't yet, and consider subscribing if you're new. Once again, this is Nico. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.